Previously on the FisiCareer. We've got heavy, wet tires on the car. It's raining in Spain. As the lights are now out for the Spanish Grand Prix. We're getting mugged left, right and centre already. Here comes both the Force Indians on the left as well, but we're gonna outbrake them down into turn 1. Ooh, a collision ahead as well. A Lotus and a Sauber's gone off there up to P10. Oh well, we completely lost the car and we literally dropped behind the whole midfield pack now. Coming round the outside of the Toro Rosso through turn 1. Oh, we tapped Gutierrez, he's gone wide. Fisichella just think he's suddenly driving some sort of rally drifting game. Completely losing the car again. Is the track ready for dry though? Seemingly not. Oh, we made another mistake here. Oh, the wing is completely gone. And now going into the pit lane. Monaco baby! Hey guys, I'm Fisi and welcome to the 6th race of the season of Fisichella's return to F1 with Marussia. And as you can see, it's finally time to enter the extraordinary, classic and most challenging circuit on the calendar, which is Monaco. This is a place where Fisichella himself has had a decent track record in the past. He finished on the podium here in both 1998 and 2000 with the Benetton. And in more recent years he was very close to scoring Force India's first ever points around here in 2009 when he finished in 9th place, only 2 seconds behind the 8th place driver. And obviously that would have been a point scoring position if the current point system had been introduced a year earlier. And of course, since I'm the man controlling Fisichella in this venture this season, it's worth noting that this is my favorite track on the game to drive. And the weekend did start positively in practice. As you can see, Fisichella ended up in 10th place. And of course, as you might know if you follow this series, we have yet to score any points so far this season for this Marussia team. And surely, if there's any place on the calendar where I'll have a chance of scoring the first points in this slow-ass car, then this is it. So yeah, I'm in qualifying now, and as you saw earlier, I'm still sticking to my plan of only using the default setup, every setting in the middle on the setup. And the first qualifying proved to be quite a challenge, because as you can see, it's very wet out there. And the first lap we did was only good enough to get us into 16th place, which is just about enough to get through, but I did another lap just to make sure that we would be safe, improving the previous lap by over a second, and getting us up to 10th place again in qualifying 1. Not quite up there with the big guns, but at least ahead of most of the midfield runners. So for qualifying 2, it's suddenly all dried up, and Fisichella just deciding to give the rear end of his good friend Fernando a little bit of a cheeky visit there. But whoops, there goes part of the wing. The first run in qualifying 2 didn't quite go to plan, as you can see, and neither did the second run, with John Eric Byrne just being a bit of an obstacle as we navigated the Nouvelle chicane. And as a result, we did not have a good enough time to get through to Q3 as we entered the final few minutes of Quali 2. But we had to go out there once again to give it another try. Now coming around the final few corners of that lap, and as you can see on the split, 5 tenths up on the previous lap. Would that be enough to get us into the third part of qualifying for the first time this season in the Marussia? It is up to 8th place with a lap of 1:14.429. And now Fisichella doing a bit of a weave to show his happiness. Bit of a milestone there for Marussia already. They've never before gotten into the third part of qualifying, but now they have. And now it just remained to be seen how far into the top 10 Fisichella could drag this Marussia. We only had one fresh set of option tires left, which we fitted on towards the end of the qualifying session, and the first flying lap on those tires put us into 7th place, but we are going to go around for another lap to try and improve that. Judging from the split times, it's only less than 1/10 of a second that is needed to get up past Massa in P6. As we've now reached the top of the hill, now blasting through the Casino Square. A little bit of a love tap there with the outside wall pushing very hard, and you can see we're slightly up coming through Sector 1. Struggling a bit with understeer through that previous corner there, and now going through the very slow chicane, the slowest corner on the whole calendar. And the corner's coming thick and fast there. As soon as I mention the name of one corner, we have another one coming straight in our face. But now through the tunnel, time to relax for a few seconds, but still having to turn through that little bend in the middle of it. And then braking hard down the hill, going through the first of the 3 chicanes of the track, onto another little straight before coming into tap back, which is a really challenging corner because it's hard, as you can see, to judge the turn-in, and it's quite bumpy on the apex as well. And now blasting through the swimming pool area, haven't really gained anything on our previous lap, still half a tenth up, meaning we have to improve a little bit more if we're gonna have a chance at getting past Massa. But I thought we nailed Russ Cast there, and now going nicely through the final corner as well. DRS open, going flying towards the line. How quick is the lap? It's a 14.208, meaning we found over a tenth of a second in that final sector and jumped up ahead of Felipe Massa on the grid into P6. And that is going to be by far our best starting position of the season. I think our previous best was starting in 12th place. But now we have our best chance yet to score our first points for Marussia, especially considering the layout of this track is very hard to overtake here, as I'm sure you know. And it remains to be seen if I will be able to keep up with the cars ahead. Obviously you had both the Red Bulls on the front row, but at least I should have a very good chance of keeping other cars behind me. And hopefully I'll be able to do enough in the race to stay in the points come the end of it. So here we are on the grid. Teammate Jules Bianchi only down in last place in the other Marussia, but Fisichella up into 6th. Can he keep it or can he even move forward? Here are the lights. The lights are now out for the Monaco Grand Prix. And it looks like Massa behind us had an incredible launch off the line, going up the inside already, almost ahead into turn 1. Can we hold it right there? So it's very close with Raikkonen and Alonso going ahead. We were forced to take a wide line there, which means Massa slipped through, and now there's 3 abreast ahead. Alonso's had to back out. Massa's gone past his teammate, and now I'm going off the inside of Alonso. A very daring move to go side by side through there, but we managed to pull it off, and Massa's gone really slow through that corner, catching us by surprise, but no major harm done. And Button is now the car behind as well, so Alonso's dropped even further back. He's had a horrible start to this Grand Prix. Meanwhile, his teammate Massa is up to 5th, but as one Ferrari has gone ahead and the other one dropped back, meaning we're still holding on to 6th place in the race, and crucially avoiding any major incidents on the first lap so far. But you can already see the cars ahead are looking very quick. They looked especially quick in the traction zone on the corner before the tunnel there. But then we closed a little bit back up again in the braking zone for this chicane. As you can see, Sebastian Vettel still in the lead of this race. Nico Rosberg, meanwhile, has gotten himself ahead of Mark Webber into 2nd. Raikkonen then is in the lead, Lotus in 4th place, and then Massa, of course, in 5th. Doesn't appear to have been any crashes on the first lap. As you can see on the minimap, there is a massive snake. Every car is still going nicely in the race. Oh, but as I say that, we have Kimi Raikkonen going into the pits. I wonder what that's about. Does he have any damage, or is there some kind of cheeky strategy from Kimi's part there to go into the pits after only 1 lap? I'm not quite sure on that one, to be honest, but at least for the time being, that means we're up to 5th place, with the top 4 already trying to create a bit of a gap. The top 3 are looking out of distance already. Massa trying to hang on to them. I've understeered wide through this corner, which doesn't help to keep up. And as you're gonna see in a minute, yep, there we go, on lap 3, Massa is nowhere to be seen. Well, he's around this corner, but you know, he's pulling even further ahead, along with the top 3. And Button's still right on the tail. Oh, Massa! He's gone very slow through that corner. He's slowed down quite a bit in the braking zone there. And now again, coming towards the hairpin. I wonder if Massa's got some kind of problem here. He's going really slow, but then he looks completely fine again coming out of the corner, in the traction zone. So I wonder if Massa's just been a bit of a troll and intentionally backed me into Button and the train chasing me, because now he's just shooting clear again. Coming out of the tunnel now, and Massa, no! Scratch! That Massa slowed down again in the brake zone. A massive lock-up. He just about managed to make the corner. That was a scary moment. And surely Massa must have some kind of brake failure, because he's just slowing down to standstill in the braking zones now. Button managed to navigate past him as well, although I think Massa's back there holding up a few people at the moment. But yeah, that's another place gained for us in a mysterious manner, I would say. Maybe the Marussia engineers tampered with Massa's brakes. Oh, Jesus Christ, Button. What are you doing? You just tried to go up the inside of me through Raskas, and that's not going to work. I was lucky to not get any damage on the wing there after tapping the wall, but managed to stay ahead then in P4, ahead of Button as we start the 4th lap of the race. A podium might look out of reach at the moment, but points, just scoring any kind of points in this race would still be a massive step forward for this team. And that is still what we're aiming for here. So far so good, but you can see there's a group of cars just behind me who's pushing very hard to try and get ahead. Button still at the front of that group, but Grosjean and Alonso also in it. Now onto lap 10 and still ahead of that chasing group, but as you can see on the graphic there, the tires are really starting to fall off at this point. Oh, as you can see, oh Jesus! Car is all over the place now. It really looks like the tires are falling off the cliff, defending hard from Button, but there's nothing Fisichella can do with this grip. Pretty much counter-steering in every corner at the moment, which is especially frustrating considering the fact that it seems like the cars behind are completely fine in terms of the tires, but they're now all over us as we come through the tunnel. We'll have to do really well, I think, and work really hard to stay ahead of these guys until the end of the lap, when surely we're going into the pit lane. Oh! But we've been helped a bit by Alonso seemingly attempting to overtake on Button, and he's managed to pull it off. Alonso up to P5, so yes, past the Button coming through the Novelle chicane. and giving us a little bit of breathing space in the process, but we have more than enough to think about just keeping this car out of the barriers at the moment. Oh, Alonso, what the fuck? What kind of overtake is that? Alonso's literally just dived up the inside of her cast from miles back and bounced off the wall to overtake me. I mean, that was unexpected. I've never seen the AI pull off a move like that. And that means the Marussia pit crew are now really under pressure to get me out ahead of these guys, because Alonso went into the pit lane just ahead of me and Button just behind. Come on guys, let me out. No, let me out, let me out. We had to let 3 cars go by in the pit lane before they could release me. Button, Alonso and Hulkenberg as well has managed to get past in the pit lane, and that's not what we wanted at all. Because it is much harder around here to be the chasing car and try to get past than it is to be ahead and defend the position. Especially when you're in a car like this, which is weaker in terms of performance compared to the cars that you're racing with. Now the next lap, when they have another Sauber coming out of the pit lane. Oh, this was a car ahead as well. We managed to get ahead of Gutierrez, but there's some other car ahead that's managed to jump us as well. I think that might have been Roman Grosjean who's just managed to squeeze himself behind Alonso and ahead of Hulkenberg there. Yeah, it is indeed, and we're now down to P10. So the first pit stop has not gone to plan at all. We dropped 4 positions compared to where we were. And now it's going to be a real struggle to try and keep up with these guys. Struggling a bit through the hairpin there. Gutierrez right on my tail. We squeezed between the 2 Saubers now. Now going through the Portier corner before we head into the tunnel. And you can see the AI cars ahead have a way better traction out that corner, pulling ahead by quite some distance in the space of only a few meters. But then again in the braking zone, this is where I gained the time back through the chicane here, and now right back onto the gearbox of Nico Hulkenberg. And you got to say the Saubers are looking quite impressive around here. They have been thoroughly the best of the midfield teams this season so far, and they're impressing again here today in Monaco, especially Hulkenberg, you have to say. Still at the back of them though, at the end of lap 13 with DRS here. But again, traction zone, I'm not getting anywhere near close enough to have a go with DRS. Obviously everyone else in this train will also have DRS, apart from the guy at the front of it, which is still Jensen Button, I believe. And now on the next lap we moved up to P9 because there's the car Ricardo who has pitted, and he is on a different strategy, so he's made his first stop quite late. He probably started the race on the prime tires. Ooh, and what's this? Here's Felipe Massa still driving around with his broken brakes, 1 whole lap down now. So he's not having a particularly great race. And you can see at this point that we're unfortunately starting to lose touch a bit with the group ahead. Hulkenberg just slipping out of distance a bit at the moment. And well, 6 laps that we've been able to keep up with these guys pretty well. But then the tires now starting to degrade a little bit. And it's kind of frustrating because you feel like the AI cars aren't affected by tire wear to the same extent that you are. And we're just not able to go quick enough to keep in touch with these guys at the moment. It's worth noting, I guess, that we're on the prime tires for this stint, as is everyone ahead of us, I'm pretty sure. Obviously the most durable of the 2 tire compounds, and I believe they're estimated to last somewhere around 12 laps. So on lap 19 now, and they're starting to lose a little bit of grip, and Hulkenberg now almost 2 seconds ahead, with Gutierrez 2.6 seconds behind. So we're slower than Hulkenberg but quicker than Gutierrez at the moment, which I guess kind of highlights the speed difference of those 2 drivers. But on lap 22 now, and you can see the gap to Hulkenberg is way more. The grip is completely gone in these final 3 laps. I mean, loads of time. Gutierrez still behind, but the top 7 are really far ahead now. As we now go into the pit lane at the end of lap 22, Gutierrez stayed out for at least another lap, but we're gonna put another set of the prime tires on for the 3rd stint of this race, which is presumably also the final stop in the race, because this was estimated to be a 2-stopper, but we've gone in quite early now because the tires were completely gone, meaning we'll have to push this 2nd set of primes really long, 16 laps until the end of this race still, which could really backfire on us in the final few laps, but for now we just have to go with it. Still on course for some points in this race, of course. We were in 8th place before we pitted, so we need a good couple of outlaps now before Gutierrez pits to make sure we don't drop lower than that. And here we go, Gutierrez, I believe he's on the exit of the pits. There he is. We managed to stay ahead of him, still in 8th place then, after all the stops have taken place. So pitting a few laps earlier has worked in that respect. And oh shit, look who's behind us now in 9th place. It's Lewis Hamilton, who only has started the race in 10th. He had a disappointing qualifying as we just lap a Van de Gaard now through the tunnel. Hamilton goes past him as well. But luckily for us, Hamilton didn't prove to be a threat because he went into the pit lane a few laps later for his final stop, meaning he was essentially quite a bit behind us when you look at the race as a whole. So Esteban Gutierrez still the closest challenger as we're now on lap 33, 6 laps to go, and as you can see it's starting to drizzle with rain. We did have a slight chance of racing for this race, but I wonder if it might just have come a bit too late to affect the grip in terms of the track before the race is over. We have just started the penultimate lap of the race, and the grip of the track is still fine, but the grip of the tires is not very good. We've been in these tires now for 14 laps after pitting early for a final stop, and we're now really going to be put under pressure from the Gutierrez and the other cars behind. I think there's, if you look at the minimap, there's a little bit of a group of cars quite close, so the points finish is certainly not in the bag just yet. Especially on these tires, before you know it, we could end up in the wall if we're not too careful. Just one moment of concentration loss can lead to a massive crash with the wall around here. Again, correcting a slide out that corner, and Gutierrez getting very close through the tunnel, but we hold the line, and Gutierrez has nowhere to go. And when I looked behind before, you could see that it was the two Toro Rossos that were right behind Gutierrez, which means 3 cars are chasing us very closely, and if we drop behind all of them, we get no points. So we really need to keep the car under control. Even a slight mistake can lead to being dropped out of the points. And I believe we have Felipe Massa ahead again, who's still strolling around on his Sunday drive several laps down now. So we don't really need to mind him too much, as long as he don't block me or get in the way. Gutierrez again very close going through Rascasa. Now it's 1 lap to go in this race to hold on for 8th place. And the first point for Marussian F1 history. Gutierrez with DRS right behind me, but luckily this straight is quite short and not long enough for Gutierrez to get a run. Nico Rosberg has already finished the race actually, meaning he was not far off lapping us. So it's nice to see Rosberg taking the win in the end and not Vettel, even though Vettel was leading at the start of the race, but Rosberg winning it like he did in real life this season. But we still have to complete this lap with Gutierrez still right on our tail. The rain is still coming down, but still not wet enough for any kind of tire change, even though we're sliding about a bit, but that could just be the very worn out tires. We have, of course, almost been 16 laps on these tires by now, which is way out of their operating window. But still holding our line to make it difficult for Gutierrez, even though he's very close now. Another slide of that corner. And this is Gutierrez's final chance, surely. We left him room on the inside to try and be fair, but Gutierrez hasn't taken it. He backed off there through the tunnel. Maybe he's content with his 9th place and doesn't want to risk it, especially in these conditions, to make sure we don't have a collision. Now going past poor old Massa again and into tap back and then sliding all over the place. Literally like driving a rally car at the moment. But Massa slotted himself between me and Gutierrez, which might just be the breathing space we need. There we go. Gutierrez had dropped quite a bit of time there to navigate Massa himself. And oh god, another slide in the penultimate corner. But he managed to keep the cars pointing the right way, and again there to hold off Gutierrez's challenge. And for the first time this season, it's going to be a points finish for Fisichella and for Marussia. It's P8 around Monaco. Monaco, baby! So yeah, it might not have been the most exciting race in terms of action, but we managed to achieve our goal of scoring points around Monaco. 4 points are in the bag for Fisichella, and Marussia have scored their first ever points in F1. So looking at the results then, and Nico Rosberg has taken the win round here, ahead of Mark Webber, and Sebastian Vettel is nowhere to be seen actually. He must have retired at some point, which I didn't notice. And another thing that's gone under my radar is Sergio Perez getting himself into 3rd place, ahead of that group of Button, Alonso and the other guys that I was battling with earlier in the race. So yeah, there we go. Vettel in 22nd with a DNF. Massa was lapped 3 times in the end and ended up 21st. And here's the Drivers' Championship as it stands after 6 races. Vettel still at the top ahead of the 2 Mercedes drivers, and then Alonso and Webber not too far behind. Massa is 6th ahead of both McLarens, and then you have the 2 Lotuses who's having a pretty disappointing season in only 9th and 10th. We have jumped up to 12th place with those 4 points we just scored there, passing Gutierrez, Sutil, Di Resta and Ricciardo, I believe. So it's been a positive day to bounce back from the horror show that was Spain last time out. And Marussia are no longer a pointless team in F1. Williams and Caterham are now the 2 teams yet to score any points this season. Marussia up to 7th in the constructors, above Force India and Toro Rosso. So yeah, like I said, it's been a very good day here in Monaco for Marussia. And wait, that's not right. Why is everyone being so sad? We just scored our first points, for fuck's sake! Okay, there we go. That's a lot better. Fisichella is looking happy now, and life is good. I really hope you have enjoyed this episode of the FisiCareer, the 6th race of the season. Next time we're in Canada, I have no idea what to expect there. We probably won't be able to top the result we just achieved here, but who knows, anything can happen in F1. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video guys, feel free to leave it a like, I would very much appreciate that. And until the next race, it's goodbye from me. Oh, and Merry Christmas!